Lean away, please.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's very good. That's good to know. Very good to know. All right. Do you have the little spiel for the Gary Sansing? Normally it's in the front.
There's the public forum one and the BCC.
Perfect. I got the BCC one right here. Okay. All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Gary Sansing Public Forum. It's 8:32 a.m. Please turn your cell phone to the vibrate, silence, or off setting. The Gary Sansing Public Forum is intended for matters not included on the agenda for the upcoming Board of County Commissioners meeting. Citizens wishing to address items on the agenda should sign up to speak to such items at the regular Board of County Commissioners meeting. Speakers shall refrain from abusive or profane remarks, disruptive outbursts, protests, or other behavior which interferes with the orderly conduct of the Gary Sansing Public Forum. Each speaker is limited to, today it will be 2 minutes. We have a number of speakers, so today it will be 2 minutes per speaker, unless otherwise determined by the chairman, to allow sufficient time for all speakers. At the chairman's discretion, the Gary Sansing Public Forum may end 5 minutes prior to the scheduled start of the upcoming Board of County Commissioners meeting in order to allow the meeting to commence on time. As I say, we have a number of speakers this morning, so instead of 3 minutes, we're going to go to 2 minutes, and we're going to start right away. Our first speaker of the evening will be Gary Gable. Gary Gable. We appreciate you being here, and you're recognized. Just make sure the mic's turned on. Press that. See a button there to turn it on? Just, yeah, press. Oh, wait, here. Oh, okay. Sorry. And we got a gentleman right here behind you going to help you. What about that one, David? We appreciate your... Oh boy, now we got nothing.
Can you hear me?
No.
Yeah, my name is Gary Gable. I live at 602 Edgewater Drive.
Okay.
I'm here in reference to the Lexington Terrace Park Sunday afternoon get-togethers. I'm not real good at public speaking, so
Yes, sir.
bear with me. We've called the Escambia County Sheriff's Office any number of times and told they have permits. The Parks Department says they do not have permits. Now the County Sheriff's Office tells us that Mr. May has issued a permit for them to meet every Sunday afternoon and to perpetuity. They can do anything they want to do, as long as they want to do it, as loud as they want to do it. And their permits include fireworks. They forego any rules and regulations that the Park Department has put forth. So I'd like to get to the bottom of who's authorizing this, and if it's not an authorized event, let's make them meet the criteria they're supposed to meet.
Thank you, Mr. Gable. I've been contacted by a number of citizens that live in the area, and I checked with the Parks Department and with the county administrator yesterday. There is no permit
Correct.
for fireworks or for some of the behavior that's going on there. So I just want to make sure that that's clear to everyone. So far as Michael Rhodes, will you come forward, please? I want to make sure we get this on the record.
Get on the record.
Yeah.
Who said that I gave him a permit?
Yeah,
I never had such a conversation.
Yeah.
We don't give out permits from the commission.
The county sheriff is using your name,
Well, we need to make sure we correct that.
Let me be clear. Chip Simmons said that?
not Chip Simmons.
Can you give me the deputy name?
dispatchers.
Can you give me the name of the dispatcher?
Not off the top of my head. I've got
Get that, because that's
Officer
totally-
Haley is one that has said that.
Who?
Officer Haley. He didn't say that you personally gave the permit, but he said it come from the county commissioner.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
But another one had told me
Another one
personally.
said
The one, I've got his phone number if you'd like it.
Give me that one. I want that name.
Yeah, but
Because
I've got the phone number, but not the name. I'll get it to you here
I
directly.
appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much.
thank you for being here, Mr. Cable. And Michael Rhodes is going to address what we discussed yesterday afternoon. Michael, you're recognized.
Yes.
Yeah, talking to that one because that one's not working. That's the one that records the other one.
Yes. Michael Rhodes, Parks and Recreation Director.
I'm sorry, Mike, you got to talk into that, not that one, yeah, that one.
Oh, my bad.
And speak loud because we're having challenges today.
Sure. All right, Michael Rhodes, Parks and Recreation Director. And for the record, there is no park pavilion reservation nor park permit for this event, past, most present, and future event for this particular gathering at the park, period. End of discussion. There has been no park permit, pavilion reservation. We don't issue noise permits through our department, so that innuendo is certainly not correct coming from our office. I have been in contact, as you know, with the local authorities, the sheriff department, met several times about ongoing events out there and our concerns and challenges and what we need. There's posted rule signs, quite frankly, all over the park. Again, to be clear, you do not have to have a park reservation or permit to go enjoy any park in Pensacola, Florida, city or county, frankly. But you do have to abide by the rules. Whether or not you have a park permit or reservation or not, we have posted rules all over our parks. Frankly, permits and reservations that come through our offices are normally for birthday parties, family reunions, baby showers, and such. But somebody wanting to go enjoy the park does not have to have a permit to go have a cookout, gather, have a picnic. So
And
if
Michael,
there's any
just-
confusion on that, that's it. But it doesn't mean you don't have to abide by the rules. And there's multiple rules.
And even if you have a permit to do one of these birthday parties or a celebration or a family reunion, you never have the ability to block other people from coming or collecting a cover charge or turning people away. Is that correct?
That is exactly
Okay.
correct.
I just wanna make sure.
Public safety would be at the height of our rules, whether it be fireworks, closing the parks at dark, obviously, or sunset is what I meant to say.
Okay.
But plenty of other rules that all park users would have to abide by, whether or not it's just me or you going to walk in the park, or if you had a picnic, birthday party planned with a reservation.
Great. Thank you, Michael. Doug, you're recognized. And while Doug's speaking, I'll call up Guy Fisher. Will you only, okay, yeah, you got 48 seconds. You have 48 seconds.
Yeah, and if we establish the fact that there's no permits, what's going to be done about all the complaints? What's going to be done about the violations they're committing?
We're working with the sheriff's office right now, and I'll let the administrator speak to that in a moment. But I want to hear from all the folks, and we have a lot of speakers. Doug, you're recognized. Next up, Guy Fisher, if you want to get ready on deck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'll just go ahead and throw my comments out there for the first speakers. I know we've got quite a few on this. Since the first time that this came up, I've heard all the same rumors, right, that the sheriff's office said that it was permitted, that Commissioner May permitted it, and I know that Commissioner May recognizes the limited authority of the commissioner and that we don't do those kind of things. So I know that it's very easy to take commissioners' names in vain up here. That's kind of what we, part of the game. But this is exactly what my office has been telling you guys got to do. Let's get this all on the record. Here's what's on the record. There is no permit. Never was. It is absolutely inappropriate for any citizen to block another citizen to enter a public facility. That is an absolute violation of the rights of the citizen that was blocked, and it's a gross overuse of just a theft of government authority by an individual. So if somebody puts a security shirt on and then blocks the entrance to one of our parks, they need to go to jail. Okay? Every conversation that I've had with the administrator reinforces that there is no permit there. The nature of that park, surrounded by residences, is such that it is not an appropriate place to have an after-hours party. That park closes at dark like all of our parks do. That park has rules like all of our parks do, and our rules apply to everybody all the time on an equal basis. Okay? The enforcement of those rules is the duty of the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. So I'll reiterate to everybody, if anybody at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office tells you that this board or this county administration has given some authority for conduct there that is outside of the normal bounds that are posted, the rules that are posted at the park, that person is misinforming you, and I need a name and a phone number. Exactly when somebody said that, okay, because I hear the things like that. Okay, so the ECSO said, okay, but the ECSO, when I talked to Sheriff Simmons, he's like, nope, that is not the policy. There is no such, nobody has the authority in Sheriff Simmons' chain of command to make that statement. That's directly from Sheriff Simmons, who I know to be an honorable and honest man. So if you're hearing those things, you know, my phone number rings to, you know, either me, Jonathan, or Connor at all hours of the night. As soon as you hear one of those comments, right at that moment, make that phone call to my office so just asked her, that's the big question. Okay, now that we're on the record with that, so what? What happens next? The Escambia County Sheriff's Office is solely responsible for the enforcement of laws in this county. And the ball is literally in their court. That is where that responsibility lies. So thank you very much. And sir, I apologize to you.
All right, thank you, thank you, Commissioner Underhill, and Guy Fisher, you're recognized. Thank you for being here.
Guy Fisher, 517 Edgewater Drive, and just to tie on to what Commissioner Underhill said there, if you want to hear it said, you can call dispatch and make a noise complaint, and that's what they're going to tell you. They were telling me that on Easter, and went down and said, well, let me check, went back and checked, and somebody came back and said it again and said it came from the county commission. This was the dispatch person who checked with their supervisor. So it's coming from the sheriff's department, not from somebody walking around talking. And the music is so loud and offensive, and I can hear it in my living room. It rattles the windows. I'm half a mile by GPS from where this music is. And it's not from a sound system, it's from cars. They are so loud. And everybody's been stuck in traffic next to one of these cars before, but multiply that. And this isn't hundreds of people. This is 1,500, 2,000 people. 500 cars parked in the road on the grass. Traffic backed up to Navy Boulevard. Stop trying to get into that place. I've been told last 2 ones there's going to be a police presence. I've been in there 6 or 7 times. I've never seen one uniformed deputy ever being involved. And we've gone in circles and circles trying to figure out where's the permit. I want to see a copy. Just around and around. Let's see, 14 seconds. Is manufacturing a permit, telling everybody, getting it on an email, telling the public, is that a crime? If
Well,
there's no-
we're not lawyers up here, but that's your
Right,
time.
right, that's my question, is
No,
that
no.
a crime?
Well, we will look into all these things, and I can assure you that there will be some police presence, some sheriff's deputies this coming Sunday. Those conversations have been had.
Okay.
Everyone is now aware that there was never a permit issued, never.
Right.
Noise complaints are difficult to enforce for the sheriff, for us, for everyone. But if you're shooting fireworks off, or you're engaging in illegal conduct in our parks, or you're violating park rules, then absolutely 100%, those rules will be enforced. And Administrator Marino, I'd like to recognize you, thank you, sir, and for comments about what we're going to do this Sunday at the park.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Michael Rose and myself met with Sheriff Simmons last week, and I had a phone call with Sheriff Simmons, I believe, on Tuesday of this week, and he has assured me they will have a presence in the park this Sunday. They will be writing tickets for illegal parking, writing tickets for open container violations, moving people along, blocking Old Coyfield Road. They're gonna have a strong presence. That's right from the sheriff's mouth. So I would expect this Sunday afternoon that there will be a strong sheriff's presence there at Lexington Terrace.
Thank you, Administrator Marino. Next up, Sheridan Davis. Sheridan Davis. Good morning.
Good morning. So 7 weeks ago, I stood before you and gave some factual details about my mother's death at the jail last year. Now this morning, I want to share my point of view on the experience, and I'll just jump in. Information climbed a stone-cold chain of command, and I was not informed. You brought me paper, a number scribbled in haste, right to my front door. I call the number, I'm told my mother's dying, I hurry to her. She's in a coma, it's medically induced, she can't speak to me. I sit by her side, I stroke her hand, cheek, and brow, a single teardrop. The machines turn off, her gasping slows to nothing, my mother is dead. My question to you, whomever you are, Chain Link, why not just tell me? You could have told me. You didn't have my number. I understand that. You could have found me. You didn't have my address? The hospital did. My mother did. Why didn't you just ask them? Defensive posture. You did see her, right? We did our very best, ma'am. No. No, you did not. You should have found me. You had 2 weeks to find me. Did you even look? Because you did find me 2 hours after coma, having been silenced. Well, you pulled the plug. I couldn't do that myself, you said snarkily. How dare you blame me? How could you be so heartless? Why didn't you tell me? When it all boils down, the painful truth is revealed. You did not care to. And then you lost her. You lost my mother's body because you did not care. I loved my mother, and I wish we could have said goodbye, but you took our choice. Who are you, Chain Link, who lets people die alone? You know who, Chain Link. So, there's a problem in how things happened. There's a problem in why it happened. So what's being done about that? She asked repeatedly.
Thank you for being here. And Rich Powell is here. He's the jail commander. Rich, would you speak with this young lady? Okay. Ma'am, right back there in the back is the guy who runs the jail. Suggest you speak with him. Thank you. Next up, Frank Eggleton. Okay. We're gonna. Is it working again, Davis?
Test.
Yeah, it seems to
Looks
be
like we're
working.
back up.
We're back up. So can I get rid of this thing over here? Or does that have to stay? This contraption.
You try to speak into this mic.
Hello, hello? It works.
Feel free.
Okay, all right, good. Sorry about that. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties, but you're recognized, Frank. Thanks for being here.
Okay, this working?
Yeah, it's working.
Oh, okay. My name is Frank Eggleton, and I'm a member of Just Pensacola, and I'm a member of St. Joseph's Catholic Church, downtown Pensacola. I want to talk a little bit about the size and the problem and the call to action for affordable housing. It's hard to put this problem into perspective in such a short period of time, but the numbers are staggering and heartbreaking. According to the Schimberg report, as of 2020, nearly 18,000 renting families are at or below 80% AMI in the county, where cost burden and the problem is only getting worse. Of course, we all would love people to move in towards buying their own homes, but how can we expect people to save for purchasing their home if they're paying 30% and in some cases 50% of their income on rental housing? We also know that children suffer greatly when their families can't afford housing. According to the Gulf Coast Kids House, lack of access to affordable housing is the single greatest contributor to child abuse. Every time a child moves, they fall behind 6 months in their academics. Demand for affordable housing outweighs supply of both Section 8 vouchers and available rental units. We know that at least 1,300 people with housing vouchers in hand have nowhere to use them. Our different faith traditions challenge us to do justice, and our justice ministry gets things done. Together with over 18 other congregations in Scambia, we're taking on this problem that we know we cannot solve as individual congregations. Just Pensacola is concerned that we have not heard back or have not received confirmation from your offices regarding preparation for and participation in our annual Nehemiah Action Assembly on Monday, May 2nd. Just Pensacola staff has reached out to your offices multiple times starting in December 2021 requesting your attendance, and we have not heard back. As the decision makers for each of your districts, we're asking for your attendance. We're expecting hundreds of people at our Nehemiah Action, all of whom are looking to you for leadership on these critical issues of affordable housing. Rental housing. If your district is not represented, it would stifle the progress we can make and will hamper future victories from our collaborative efforts.
Thank you, Frank.
This problem does not just affect one district or zip code. If we're really going to create mixed income communities that will thrive and propel Escambia County into an abundant and
Frank.
prosperous future, I know, the work starts right now.
Okay, I
Thank you.
appreciate it. I appreciate your time. And I will tell you, I've spoken with the young lady who represents your group, Kira, I believe is her name.
Kaylee.
Kaylee. I've spoken to her multiple times. I made myself available for a teleconference. I believe you were on that call. Unfortunately, the time and date for your summit doesn't work in my particular schedule. Of course, you know, I'm willing to look at whatever product you bring forward, but it's difficult. We have a lot of obligations, and we can't make everything that we're invited to, and that's just the fact of the matter. But I appreciate you being here.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, Peggy Groves, followed by Leslie Yandel. Peggy, you're recognized.
Good morning. I'm also from Just Pensacola. In the fall, Just Pensacola held over 50 House meetings, and over 300 of our residents, regardless of social, economic status, race, or zip code, shared stories that illustrated Escambia's housing crisis. Members of our own families, our congregations, and our neighbors struggle to pay for food, medical care, and other household expenses because their rent's so high. Families double up with other families because otherwise housing is too expensive. Others struggle to pay rent, and when they can't pay, get evicted, and then they're forced to live in hotels or cars. I never thought the problem of affordable housing would affect my life. I'm a retired teacher with more than 35 years in working in education and lived in a small home that I'd built after the death of my husband. But 3 years ago, my niece, who is a medical technician and who is also enrolled in the University of West Florida, had to move in with me. Although she was working full-time, she could not afford a place to live for herself and her son. So I'm ever mindful of the question, what happens to the full-time single mom who does not have family to fall back on the way my niece did? And we're not alone. The most recent stats show that of the families in our county making $74,000 or less, over 3/5 of them are paying more than 30% of their income on rent. To help understand the severity of this number, you can have a look at your packet. The people who are working with these families and individuals are essential workers. They teach our children. They respond to emergencies in our neighborhoods. They lead our churches and synagogues. They take our orders at restaurants. They take care of our young children. They dry clean our clothes, style and cut our hair, and ensure that our congregations, offices, and hotel rooms are clean. These are real people. These are your people. We need them, and it's time to ensure that they live safely in a community that values them.
Thank you, ma'am. Peggy Groves. Leslie Yandel. Followed by Paul Blackman. You're on deck. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. I'm from First Presbyterian Church in downtown Pensacola. Just Pensacola is energized by the 2030 Escambia County Comprehensive Plan. Housing objectives for Section 1.6 reads, continue implementation of critical housing programs. Implementation will include but not be limited to county-private partnerships, city-county partnerships, private nonprofit, and technical assistant providers. We are here today to assist in putting this comprehensive plan into action. According to this plan, the Escambia County will provide safe, sanitary, and affordable rental units and housing for the current and future residents of the county. The information that's been shared previously, I won't repeat that, but that was part of my presentation. There's been a number of research efforts done, but through our research, it's become very clear that the key cause of our local housing epidemic is a lack of supply of rental units. So many of our workers, our employees, our members, that they can afford. Our other communities, such as Pinellas County, Florida, have been successful in producing affordable rental units and housing for the families who need it most by establishing an affordable housing trust fund supported with local dollars. A housing trust fund is a flexible fund that cities and counties can shape to target the community's exact housing needs at such income levels that benefit our citizens. Local trust fund dollars can offset the cost of land acquisition, construction, so developers can produce housing these families can afford and to keep them affordable.
Okay, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate your comments.
We are asking that you join us in addressing this critical issue
Gotcha.
in our county.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you. Paul Blackman, you're up. Followed by Paul Nobles. Paul Nobles, you're on deck. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Paul Blackman. I am the pastor of the First Baptist Church, Ferry Pass, and I am the co-president of Just Pensacola. Justice United Seeking Transformation in Pensacola, or Just Pensacola, is an interfaith organization of 18 faith communities, and we are growing. We cross denomination, racial, and political lines. Faith communities of all backgrounds are craving solidarity and relationships with their neighbors during these difficult times. As an organization, we actively seek to uncover injustice and mobilize the community through the power of organized people to create and win just and fair solutions. As you know, Just Pensacola is alarmed about the lack of affordable rental housing in our county. The 2019 numbers from Simberg suggest that across Santa Rosa and Escambia counties, we are more than 7,000 affordable units short. That is in 2019. You can only imagine what those numbers are today. Just Pensacola has spent the last 4 months doing intensive research as we are coming to you with a solution and a proposal to build a relationship with us as well as the city to start creating change. These community leaders behind me, along with over 1,000 people, are going to be attending our Nehemiah Action event on May 2nd, and you have all been invited. We stand here again because we know you want to tackle this problem the right way, and you want to do it well. As members of this community, we believe it is our duty to advocate on behalf of others and our neighbors when something is not right.
Thank you, Mr. Blackman. We appreciate you being here. Thank you. Next up, Paul Nobles, followed by Wanda Smith. Paul, welcome back. Long time no see.
Thank you, Commissioner. Paul Nobles, 6117 Woodcock Lane. Commissioners, I'm here today to speak to you about what goes on in Escambia County with the flooding. I know that every commissioner is well aware of flooding in their individual districts. What I'm asking is that the commissioners allocate additional funding, that they increase the funding allocated for flooding. I'm also asking that the commissioners consider an additional item. Any new development that goes in my opinion, especially based on the number of years I heard responses regarding flooding and the alleviation, asking developers when they go to develop new subdivisions that they be required to consider what their total effect would be on a drainage district. The reason being is, and I'll just give you a good example, it was a small development. It was a commercial property just behind my house. When the people purchased the property, I wanted to try and find out a little bit about what was going on. Luckily enough, I knew enough about the way the county worked. I went over to engineering. I asked them, could I see drawings of what the plan was, what they were going to be putting in. When I spoke to the individual that was in charge then of drainage, they looked at the holding pond, and it was a 10 by 10 holding pond. This property was 3 acres, 3/4 of which was going to be impervious structure. When they looked at it, they asked for some additional overheads to show what the actual property looked at currently. Ironic part was when they saw it, they asked some other information about why was it showing up as blue? Well, I explained that. It was a natural holding pond. Every time that we had a big rain, it would fill up with water, and my daughter and her friends would go out and swim there. They were going to be covering this and filling most of it in so that they could have enough property.
Paul, I apologize, but your time
I
is...
understand.
Yeah, but I
Just
appreciate it.
please consider that in developments.
Thank you, sir. Wanda Smith, followed by George Levy. Welcome, George. You're up next, after Wanda. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Good morning, and thank you. I've been here before, and my comments are going to reflect what I said before about the endangered species.
Yes, ma'am.
I realize that turtles and owls don't vote, and they don't pay taxes. We need to preserve this for other reasons. When was the last time you saw a firefly or a lightning bug? Have you ever? We still have them. My house is situated at the bottom of a hill. The water comes down, runs around the road, washes it away. The road department is very, very conscious about coming and fixing my driveway. They did this last week. They had to build a berm to keep the water. The water had already washed away the slag that they had put there before. But they're very conscientious about coming and fixing my driveway for me. This watershed that comes off of the hill right down into my property. Now, they're planning on building JoJo development. It is mainly a swampy area. It's going to have to be filled. And when it's filled and it comes down, this is going to come this way. The hill water is going to come this way. And I ask you to think about what's going to happen to me and my house that I've had for almost 50 years. This was my home. This is where I wanted to retire. And this is what I want you to look at when you're voting on whether to do a subdivision of that magnitude, what it will affect the people who live around there. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Smith. George, you're recognized. Followed by Chris Kerb. You'll be up next.
Hello, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Staff. George Levy, 2512 Sweetheart Lane, Pensacola. I got 5 quick points and I'll leave. One is there's been talk about the FPL rate concern and whatnot, and I highly think that you need to look at the usage, the meter readings from the utility. And I've seen comments on social media and whatnot, and some people, but not everybody is concerned. Just a select few, and I think it's in the meter readings when they went from Gulf Power to FPL. There's a gap. Next thing, on the same issue, FPL, I think you need to look at the disconnects. From the social media, there were some people who are disconnected, and I don't think it was done appropriately. That would be a bigger concern of why they didn't have forgiveness or time duration. The third thing is flooding. It's been a topic. It rains in Florida. Surprise, surprise. But I think you need to take a closer look at the topic and what's going on. I've heard mention in the past about flooding, rainfall in 2019 was 52 inches, 2020 was 76 inches, and 2021 was 88 inches. So it's a trend up, okay? But they don't mention in 2018, it was 90 inches. So from 90 down to 88, the trend is going down, okay? However, what's happening, I see, and I don't get straight answers when I ask this, is that typically construction is based on 14 inches of rainfall event, and it should be probably 40 inches or more. You're not accounting for a proper rainfall event over 24 hours, 48 hours.
Thank you, George. Thanks for being
Thank you.
here. Yes, sir. All right. Chris Kerb, you're recognized. Followed by Shelley Hayes.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'll be real brief. A lot of people here. Sent you a Google Drive link this morning. Dee Radelsky's testimony, she decided not to come today. But there's a concern expressed at 7700 block of Pontiac Drive. I mentioned it to Horace. y'all might want to take a look at it. I believe the county's got some drainage that runs off Pontiac Drive through this property where they're getting ready to build a home on it. There's survey markers out there, so you might want to take a look at that. Paul Nobles on Woodcock Lane, I believe he spent around $50K. I think he's going to send you an email on it, on floodproofing his house when the county's got a pond about, I don't know, 300 or 400 foot away. I know the county's surveying that. I don't know the status of that project, but I'd like to see something happen on that. I also sent you a real elaborate evaluation of obsolete rainfall data. And it starts out from the Stormwater Advisory Team from 2015. What is a 100-year storm? I got a lot of people questioning me and asking me what is a 100-year storm, since that is our requirement. But when your county engineer gets here, Joy Blackman, I believe a month or so, you might want to. I'd love to meet with her and talk to her again. Good person. I'm glad y'all pulling her on board again. I think she will do real good for the county engineering department. Miss KK Truesdale, Commissioner Bergosh,
Yes.
I believe I tagged you on a little post where her yard flooded again from the McDirt pit being blocking the water from going into their pit. So just recently, so I tagged you in a Facebook page, but I know y'all are working on that one as well. But
We are. Thank you, Chris,
thank
for
you.
being here. Thank you, Shelley Hayes, followed by Jean Brown. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Shelley Hayes, and I'm here to speak against the JoJo development that is going in. It is going to be, if it is approved, put directly across the road from my residence. We've lived in our residence over 13 years, and we do not want to see this go in. The back entrance to that development would be directly across the road from my home. There have been people speaking regarding flooding and issues with water coming downhill and flooding our neighborhood. We are one of the lowest homes in that area. What's not being looked at is the actual water table. The flooding does take place, but the water table does rise. Rises so much to where we have anywhere on a substantial rain, 8, even up to 18 inches in the deepest point of water underneath our home because of the water table rising so high. This causes our septic tanks not to work, the drain lines not to work. We've spent thousands of dollars in the last couple of years personally on my property, on me and my husband's property, to try to battle this problem. If there's water in the culvert out front our home, there is water under our home. It takes days, even weeks, for this water to go down. Even if there's a small rain, nothing works in our neighborhood. We've had dirt hauled in. We've had ensured that our drain field, our leach fields have been clean. Nothing is helping. So with this development going in and the water tables being so high, there's no way it's going to work with our neighborhood. The water is going to continually be a problem. We're going to get rain. We understand that. Drainage can be addressed easily, but with this water table coming up, it's not going to do anything but affect us negatively. Thank you.
Thank you for being here this morning. Final speaker today is Jean Brown. And while she makes her way up, if there's anyone else to speak to public forum, we need to get a form in. Right now, this is the last speaker that we have. Jean, you're recognized. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners, and thank you. I'm Jean Brown of 1475 Finley Drive, and I oppose the JoJo Finley development. I have spoken my heart to you in 3 increments, telling you of my love for my neighborhood, the chain of connection of the owner-developer since 2007, and the character and quality of Finley Drive and how it's affected by the comprehensive plan and the land development code. How does the proposed development affect me as the next door neighbor? Loss of trees, the intense density leaves no room for trees anywhere. Traffic, it is highly unlikely that an extension of JoJo Road can be built over the wetlands and all traffic would come out on Finley, about 900 cars per day. There would be 8 townhouses next to my home past the amenity area. Wanda Smith will be wrapped by 9 townhomes on the west and 10 townhomes on the north. The Salters will have 7 townhomes on the north. The amenity area next door to me would be what? Pool, playground, 218 mailboxes, clubhouse, garbage dumpsters, which brings rats that will seek refuge in my home. This is not an amenity for me or for the neighborhood. There would be increased flooding. The 22 acres is 100% pervious now. When it's 80% paved over, the flooding will increase dramatically. There will be greater likelihood of crime and drugs, greater noise level. The infrastructure of Findlay cannot support this massive development. There's a crumbling street, cracking because of underground springs and thin pavement, 56 water line leaks that have been patched, plus leaks on the grassy shoulders. Our 4-inch water lines will be attached to the 6-inch water lines in the development. The same comprehensive plan and the same land development code that promises the character and quality of our residential neighborhood will be protected and preserved also has information in it that applies to the developer. There's a huge contradiction in this, and how can you balance the two sides? We believe that our character, quality, and compatible size issues are meant to carry great weight. I hope that you will choose our existing single-family neighborhood. Remember Findlay JoJo.
Yes, ma'am.
If I could have one more minute. I know that you are doing a proclamation in honor of Deputy Don Cook.
Yes, ma'am, we are.
And I stand here to honor and show respect for Don Cook. I was Don Cook's 9th grade English teacher. He was a great kid, always a great smile, and of all things, he liked talking to teachers. And I am proud to see him being honored in this way and
Thank you.
memorialized.
Yes, we're
Thank
proud
you.
too. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for being here. Seeing no further speakers, we're going to adjourn this meeting, and we will commence our regular meeting in about 3 minutes at 1:15. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you could please take your seats. We're going to start in about 1 minute. If you could please take your seats. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, tell me about it. We got a third sitting. Are you all up and running, Stephen?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's a good thing everybody ran over. So, yeah, I know.
Right on. All right, we're going to get this thing started. Please take your seats. Please take your seats. Please take your seats. We're late. All right, good morning. This is the Board of County Commissioners' regular meeting, April 21st, 2022. It's 18 minutes after 9 o'clock. Please turn your cell phones to the vibrate, silence, or off setting. The Board of County Commissioners allows any person to speak regarding an item on the agenda. The speaker is limited to 3 minutes unless otherwise determined by the chairman to allow sufficient time for all the speakers. Speakers shall refrain from abusive or profane remarks, disruptive outbursts, protests, or other behavior which interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. Upon completion of the public forum period, discussion is limited to the board members and questions raised by the board. This morning, Commissioner Bender will bring the invocation. I would ask that you remain standing after so we can do the Pledge of Allegiance, which I will lead. Please stand. Commissioner Bender, you recognize.
Yes, sir. I have Pastor Ted Traylor, Olive Baptist Church.
Thank you, Commissioner. Let's pray together. Father in heaven, we come before you today, and I ask by your favor that you would do good to Escambia County. Lord, we are not worthy of that favor, but Lord, I ask that you would bestow mercy and favor on this gathering today. I pray for these commissioners that, Lord, you would favor them. Bless their families that serve and stand alongside of them. Bless the staff that serves with them and does so much of the work. Lord, we ask on our county and our communities your favor. Lord, we are diverse yet one, and I pray that you would make us that. And for our citizens, for those that opened a business this morning or those that'll feed us lunch today, I pray, Father, your favor on them. Teach us that it's your righteousness that exalts a nation. Forgive us where we are apathetic and often selfish. And Lord, I pray that you would make this county a place where your favor resides and that you would do good among us. And Lord, this morning I make my prayer, especially this week, in the name of the one who went to Calvary's cross for me and who was raised, and we celebrate and thank you, Jesus, that you intercede for us this very morning. And it's in your name we pray and ask this favor for good. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Traylor. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. All right, at this point, we will go through, are there any items to be added to the agenda? Madam Attorney?
No, sir.
Commissioner Bender?
No, sir.
Commissioner Berry?
No.
Commissioner May?
I had one for the Rosamond Johnson, but my aide said that it was added in. Were we able to get it in?
Yep, yeah, absolutely, and I'm hoping you'll present that proclamation this morning.
Okay, thank you,
Absolutely.
sir. Be happy to.
Commissioner Underhill?
Nothing, sir.
All right, nothing from me. Wes?
No, sir.
All right, very good. All right, Commissioners Forum.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the agenda. Please vote. Agenda is approved unanimously. Commissioners Forum, Commissioner Bender, you're recognized.
No, sir, I don't have anything.
Commissioner Berry?
No, sir.
Commissioner May?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Pastor Ted, it's always good to see you, and I appreciate the great work. All that's Commissioner Bender's district, you stretch wide into my district, and you've just been a great supporter personally and in my district, and I want to publicly thank you for that. Also, Mr. Chairman, Ms. Myrtle Wall is one of the first African-American nurses at Baptist Hospital, lost her life, and we'll be having her homegoing ceremony this Saturday at St. John Divine Baptist Church. So our prayers and condolences are to the Wallace family. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner May. Commissioner Underhill?
Nothing for the good of the whole, thank you.
All right, nothing from me. Wes, you got anything? No, sir. All right, moving forward, gentlemen, I am going to rearrange the order without objection. Commissioner Bender has requested, and District 4 office has requested a proclamation be made, so we're going to do that. Commissioner Bender, you're recognized to do what you requested.
For the national, the
email you
telecommunications?
sent me, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to make a motion?
So I'll move the proclamations.
Second.
Please vote. All right, the proclamations pass unanimously to include the one Commissioner Bender is bringing this morning. And when he gets to the mic, he will be recognized. Is there someone receiving this today, Commissioner Bender? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I did present this last week in our 911 call center because it was Telecommunications Week, but I also wanted to do this publicly.
Sure.
For the men and women that are there answering the call when a 911 call comes in. And it's a little personal for me this year because last August, they answered the call when my family was there and needed their help. And for over 10 minutes, they gave CPR instructions to my sister as the ambulance that they had also dispatched was responding. So, again, it's I'm very honored to present this to them and thank them for the work that they do every day. It's for everybody out there, and it's it's helping our other public safety employees when they need help. It's dispatching the ambulance and the fire trucks or routing the call to the appropriate agency. So, like I said, this is means a lot to me this year. So I have this Escambia County Proclamation. Whereas this week is a time to show our appreciation and to recognize that our health, safety, and well-being are often dependent on the commitment and steadfast devotion of public safety telecommunicators because emergencies can occur at any time that require law enforcement, fire, or emergency medical services. And whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of law enforcement, firefighters, and emergency medical service personnel is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our first responders is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who call the Escambia County 911 Communications Center. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. These dedicated men and women are first responders and are more than anonymous voices on the telephone line. They are public safety telecommunication professionals who quickly respond to over 199,000 emergency calls every year in Escambia County. And whereas emergency responders rely on their knowledge and professionalism to make critical decisions, obtain information, and quickly dispatch needed aid. Public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our law enforcement officers, firefighters, and emergency medical service personnel by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators have saved countless lives by providing step-by-step instructions to render aid prior to first responders arriving on scene. The work of these unseen first responders is invaluable in emergency situations, and each of these dedicated men and women deserve our heartfelt appreciation. Citizens place their trust in these individuals, not just this week, but every day of the year. And whereas every emergency dispatcher, 911 call taker, and radio and telephone technician exhibits compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job while assisting those in need. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners hereby declare the week of April 10 to 16, 2022 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our county safe 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Board of County Commissioners, Escambia County, Florida, Jeff Bergosh, Chairman, District 1, Douglas Underhill, Vice Chairman, District 2, Lumen J. May, District 3, Robert Bender, District 4, Stephen Berry, District 5.
Commissioners, thank you for recognizing our folks. They do a tremendous job day in and day out, 365, 24/7. And like Commissioner Bender said, you know, providing those pre-arrival instructions prior to first responders getting on scene. So thank you for your support. Thank you for the recognition, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Appreciate
Mr.
it,
Chairman?
guys. Yes, sir.
I want to publicly thank EMS and our paramedics. That same August that, unfortunately for Robert, that ended fatal, my mother was near fatal, and it drastically changed our family. And without Eric and without EMS and without a young lady named Lori Sider in the property appraiser's office who took my mother under their care and calmed her and nearly, I believe, saved her life. And so I want to publicly thank you because of that August was traumatic, and we all hate to get that phone call. And without Eric, without you assuring us and calming us down, our family was in an uproar. So I want to publicly thank all of our public safety people for the things that you've done for my family and all of our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner May.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right, next up, Captain Robert Turpin. I believe you have a recommendation or a proclamation. Looks like we got a check too.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. It's my distinct honor, one of the greatest honors that I've had in my tenure here in Escambia County, to allow us to show appreciation for one of the most dedicated members of our public, and I call her the Queen of Artificial Reefs. And as we were writing the proclamation, it was difficult to put into words the magnitude of a description of what Eileen has done for this county, this community, and for our marine life as well. So I'll try to get my way through this proclamation, but I do want to mention that there are a number of people that are here today to let Eileen know how much she means to them as well. After that, I don't want to forget to ask them to stand so she can see who's here today to.
Absolutely, Captain Turpin. It's my intention to move forward the other item on the, because I noticed there's some folks from MAC here today.
Yes.
And it's a big day for the MAC. It's a big day for Escambia County District 1 with our boat launch. So I'm going to move 2-4 forward so while those folks are here.
Thank
so they
you,
can
sir.
be recognized. Yes, sir.
So I'll make my way through this. Whereas Eileen Beard was a founding member of the Escambia County Marine Advisory Committee and has served on that committee for the past 4 decades, and whereas Eileen was instrumental in obtaining the original Escambia County artificial reef permits and deploying numerous artificial reefs, and whereas Eileen introduced and promoted fishing and diving Escambia County's artificial reefs and waterways to Escambia County residents and visitors, whereas fishing and diving in Escambia County's artificial reefs provides an annual economic benefit of more than $150 million to Escambia County and supports 2,234 jobs in Escambia County. And whereas Eileen was instrumental in the establishment of the Marine Resources Division And whereas Eileen was instrumental in obtaining and acquiring the USS Oriskany to be deployed as the world's largest artificial reefs. And whereas Eileen has donated $500,000 to the Escambia County Aquatic Resources Stewardship Endowment Fund for establishing, protecting, restoring, maintaining, and enhancing Escambia County's freshwater and marine habitats and the recreational activities associated with such habitats. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Escambia County, Florida hereby proclaims appreciation to Eileen Beard for her life's work in developing and promoting the sustainable use of Escambia County's freshwater and marine resources. Be it further proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners appoints Eileen Beard to the Escambia County Marine Advisory Committee in emeritus status and hereby renames the Escambia County Southeast Artificial Reef Site as the Eileen Beard Artificial Reef Site in recognition of her dedication and service to Escambia County's Artificial Reef Program. Board of County Commissioners, Escambia County, Florida. Jeff Burgos, Chairman, District 1. Douglas Underhill, Vice Chairman, District 2. Lumen May, District 3. Robert Bender, District 4. Stephen Berry, District 5.
Eileen Beard, and I want to thank the county for creating the Marine Resource Department. That has been an absolute blessing to this county. Hiring Robert Turpin as the director and the instigator, he has done an exemplary job. His diligence and sacrifices that he has made is just worthy of, I hope, a raise. Anyway, I also want to thank his lovely wife, Tammy, and his two daughters, Tara and Celia. They have given up part of Robert's time at home in order to see that the Artificial Reef Program has moved forward. I just think that is a very worthy thing that he has done. I thank the county for the fact that they did donate $1 million for the Oriskany in order to make it happen. I hope you know that the return on your investment, I wish I could get that in my investments. The first year, Bill Huth with the Haas at the University of West Florida had figured out for every $1 spent, $150 was returned to this community in some form. That was 1 year. It is perpetual. Y'all are not going to have to do any maintenance on it. It is there, and it is still providing income. In regards to the money that I have donated, I would like to proclaim that $100,000 of it be placed into a perpetual memorial site using 8-foot tetrahedron modules, artificial reef modules. Then when someone, their loved one passes and they want to honor them, then they can pay the original cost to the county for the fact that that reef is down. That money go, of course, back into the endowment fund to be used for more artificial reefs so that it is a perpetual fund. Then $400,000 I would like to be used for leverage in order to get more ships in here. It is definitely an economic benefit and would appreciate it if you would do those things.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if the Marine Advisory Committee members in attendance and some of the other people here that have worked with Eileen and would like to show their support, if they could please stand, please. And this is, And this is just a portion of the people that Eileen has touched throughout her career and service to Escambia County. So Eileen, if you could help us, we're going to get a picture. Oh. And I'll actually, can I hold this and I'll let you hold your proclamation?
Robert, I'll hold that check, thank you. Just kidding.
Elaine, when I first met you, I knew that District 3 would contribute. I mean, so District 3 is really, really supporting artificial reef. That's right. That's our favorite appointee.
And Eileen, if I might, that's an incredibly generous gift that you've made, and I just want to say thank you. I did not know about it until right now. So
You're kidding.
No.
My
So
goodness.
thank you. I love to fish, and we will do everything we can to honor your wishes. Thank you
Thank
for your
you very much.
generosity.
I appreciate
Yes,
it.
ma'am. All right. The balance of the events of the proclamations, we're going to either ratify or adopt, or we already adopted for a later event. We do have the proclamation for Commissioner May for Rosamond Johnson Beach. Is there someone here to accept this proclamation today? Was there someone in attendance? Yes, ma'am. Please come forward. Please. And Commissioner May is going to bring that proclamation. And thank you, ladies, for being here today. Appreciate it.
It's an honor, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for allowing me to do this.
Yes, sir.
And I know Commissioner Underhill has been very supportive of the Rosamond Johnson, but I had the opportunity of knowing Miss Johnson and all of the family all of my life, and quite frankly, I live across the street from where Rosamond Johnson was born, and the family continues to be a part of that community, and they're a part of my life. Whereas the life of Private Rosamond Johnson, an African-American hero and the first Escambia County resident to die in the Korean War, will be commemorated Sunday, May 7th at Johnson Beach in Perdido Key, Florida. Whereas after joining the military, he was just 15 years old, Private Rosamond Johnson was killed at the age of 17 during the Korean conflict. Whereas having carried 2 wounded men to safety on the enemy fire, Private Johnson was killed while going back to save the third. Whereas Private Johnson received the Purple Heart on August 21st, 1950, whereas Pensacola Beachers were racially segregated at the time of Private Johnson's death. The Gulf Beach area was a popular area for African Americans after the Korean conflict. The county-owned recreational area was renamed Rosamond Johnson Beach to honor its fallen hero, whereas Rosamond Johnson became a part of the Gulf Island National Seashore in 1973, and a permanent monument in honor of Private Johnson was erected at Johnson Beach in 1996. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Escambia County, Florida, does hereby proclaim May 7, 2022 as Rosamond Johnson Beach Day in Escambia County in honor and memory of Private Rosamond Johnson Jr., who made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. Board of County Commissioners Jeff Bergosh, Chairman, Douglas Underhill, Vice Chairman, Lewin J. May, District 3, Robert Bender, District 4, Stephen Berry, District 5. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioners, for your continued support of the Rosamond Johnson Beach Day. I'm Erin Wilmer as a representative of Perdido Key Chamber. This is Tammy Thorough. She's the director of the chamber. We couldn't do these events without your support, so we thank you so much. It is Saturday, May 7th, where we will be honoring him in a memorial celebration. You are welcome to attend. The family is always there and makes a presence at these events, and it's a very touching event. So if you have time, please come out and join us.
And Aaron, again, repeat the time and the location. Is it?
It's going to be at Johnson Beach, May 7th. The time is 10 a.m.
Okay.
to 12 p.m.
And it's in that main parking area? The
Yes,
okay.
yes, yes,
All right,
sir.
fantastic. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
you being here. Thank you. All right, that concludes our proclamations.
And Mr. Chairman, thank you. They're very personal, family, friends of mine, so thank you so much.
Yes, and Commissioner Underhill, your item is added. It's an add-on at the end of the agenda, so we got it. All right. Okay. I'm sorry, did I say that? Commissioner May?
May, yes.
Commissioner
Well, I know Doug has typically helped out with, I guess, getting people in the park that day, but I've typically helped him out with food, so I
All
want
right.
to continue to do that.
Fantastic. Okay. Did the clerk's office receive the proofs of publication for the public hearings on the agenda and the board's weekly meeting schedule?
Mr. Chairman, the clerk's office has received all proofs.
Fantastic.
Move to waive the reading.
Okay, we got a
Second.
motion second to move the waiving of the reading. Please vote. Okay, the vote to waive the reading passes unanimously. Before we get into our public hearing, as I mentioned a moment ago, I would like to, while the MAC members are here, if you're affiliated with the Marine Advisory Committee, could you please raise your hand just so I could see if you're affiliated? Okay. While you are here, without objection from my fellow counterparts, I'd like to move item CAR 24 forward. It is a significant allocation of funding for the Lillian, the South Perdido Bay boat ramp that we've been working on for a number of years. I know the MAC has done a tremendous amount of work. Bob Turpin has done a lot, and I appreciate everyone that serves on that committee. So the chair would
Mr.
bring...
Chairman, we do have one speaker.
We have one speaker to that item, okay, and who is that speaker? Is it you? Okay,
Mel Pino.
Melissa, yeah, you're recognized, and then we'll do the item.
Thank you, Chairman Burgash. Melissa Pino, 413 Southeast Bowlets. I want to make it short and sweet, and I want to keep it on Eileen for a second, because this is really amazing. And I don't think people realize how important this committee is. I think it's a really underappreciated committee in Escambia County that does a lot of great things. And I wanted to bring attention to something that Eileen said at the last meeting that I wasn't aware of, and obviously this isn't on the boat ramp, but I hope you'll give me just a bit of leeway. She relayed that when they sank the Oriskany and the reporter from CNN called her to tell her the impact on the press that day, it was the #1 news story. There were wars, politicians doing crazy things, and Escambia County and the Oriskany and the work that Eileen and the other members of the MAC and the diving community did hit the headlines in a big way, and the estimate on the free press for Escambia County was $6 million. I hope I'm getting that right. So we're going to be working on a 5-year plan, 6-year plan for the MAC, and hopefully bring in more good things, but Chairman Burgash, I just wanted to underline for the folks at home, because it was erroneously reported that this project was the #1 failure in Escambia County and that it was dead in the water, no pun intended. Hopefully now folks will see the truth, that it's very much alive moving forward.
You're talking about the Oriskany?
No, I'm talking about the Perdido boat ramp.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, the segue is that it was reported that it was the #1 failure in Escambia County because it was dead, like the project was dead, so we're just going to correct that little bit of misinformation. The longtime members of the MAC, they've been advocating for this for a really long time. So I just caught the tail end of it and don't want to look like I'm trying to raise the trophy. This is an amazing committee. They've done wonderful things for years, and we're really hoping that we're going to go into another round now of developing hopefully some great ideas for projects in Escambia County. And thank you, Eileen. That was just phenomenal.
Thank you, Melissa, for that. Yes, this is a very important project. It's great to see some of the money coming back in from the Restore Direct Component Pot 1 grant. We've had to cobble together a lot of funding sources. I know it was a real challenge getting all the necessary permits, but this thing is going out to bid. This thing is going to happen. 39 acres, tremendous number of parking spots, enough room for an additional park right on the southern portion of Perdido Bay. It's going to be a great amenity for the entire west side of Escambia County, and I can't wait to see it. I can't wait for the groundbreaking. But I wanted to bring this forward while you all were here, and I appreciate your work. And with that, I'll either pass the gavel or the chair would entertain a motion to accept this grant money.
Move the item in the affirmative.
Second.
All right, motion
And
is-
Jeff,
Yes, sir.
Ships and his team that go and get this money from Restore, I mean,
Yes.
should be commended. And one question, the boat ramp is going to be free to the public, I would
Absolutely,
assume.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
free. A free amenity to the public, absolutely, yes, sir.
Good job. Thanks, Chip.
So thank you, yes, Chip Kirschenfeld, Tim Day, the whole team, all of our environmental, MAC. This is going to be a big win for Escambia County, can't wait.
Hey, Jeff.
Yes. Nick Chauvin.
Hey, what's the utilization of the Perdita Bay ramp right when you go on 90, on 9 Mile, right? Isn't it pretty heavy?
I believe that it is. You're talking about the Wilson Robertson?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you go out there on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon, it's full.
Yeah.
It gets a lot of, that's more for the river fishermen, the bass fishermen,
Yeah.
for the most
Man,
part.
I know this is far away, but I drove through there at like 9 o'clock on a Tuesday morning a couple weeks ago, and as a layperson, I don't partake in that activity necessarily, and don't have a lot of free time during the week to goof off and do stuff. Maybe when I'm retired, but I was surprised there were 24 vehicles on like a Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock or something, and so it would seem if it was being used at that time, it gets a lot of use.
The weekends, you can't find a spot. It's a tremendous asset, and people on the west side, it's a constant thing that I hear. We need more opportunities for recreation, for water recreation, boat launches, public beach access. We're working on a number of those things. There's some exciting things going forward. But to answer your question, Commissioner Berry, yes, that's a very popular spot among the bass fishermen and the people that fish the river. So it's fantastic. But with that, we've got a motion and a second. Please vote. All right, that item passes unanimously. Thank you very much for your work, everyone. Thank you. All right, now we will get back to our regular order. I appreciate you all being here. At this time, we are going to go into our public hearing, the 901 public hearing to consider the E-date referendum and renewal ordinance. Do we have any speakers on this? Okay, we have no speakers. The chair would entertain a motion on this. All right, we have a motion on the public hearing, the 901. Do we have a second? Motion and second on the 901. No one to speak? Please vote. Yep, I'm sorry. Commissioner Underhill, you're recognized.
Just double checking that, now I can't read the dang thing. The intent is to just put this on, and I apologize.
It's to put it on the ballot.
Electronic problem, just to put it on the ballot.
Correct.
So, yeah, and that's that's obviously the right thing to do, and I do hope that the citizens are paying very close attention, regardless of where you are on the spectrum of politics. You would recognize that E-dates should be a problem for you. If you are a liberal Democrat, you expect everybody to pay their fair share of taxes, and that's the right thing to do. Anytime that we give tax breaks to somebody, remember that the overall tax burden does not go down. We just shift the remaining tax burden over to you, those who do not have E-dates. And those that are able to do all the things necessary to get E-dates, to say that they are not exactly our working class folks is pretty clear. So if you're a liberal Democrat, you should be opposed to E-dates. If you are a conservative Republican and you believe that the government should not be putting its finger on the scale, that government should not be trying to choose winners and losers, then you too should be opposed to E-dates. The reality of the E-dates are that they are only available to those who are dialed into the power class. And that, as a Republican, you should recognize as a problem. It creates a situation where government gets to choose the winners and losers, or make it easier for some people to win than others. And our job is to create a level playing field so that people can either succeed or fail based on the sweat of their brow. So the right thing to do is to put this on the agenda for the citizens to make their choice at the ballot box. And I ask every citizen, when you go to the ballot box, we've had E-dates for many years. Can you point to an E-date that's made your life better, that has addressed your equities here in Escambia County? And if the answer is no, then I hope and pray that you will vote no to continuing the practice of E-dates in Escambia County. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Underhill. So the motion, the item on the table for consideration for vote is to place this on the ballot. Please vote. All right, and that passes unanimously. And in part, Commissioner Underhill, just to tag on to what you said, I do agree with you. It's appropriate for the citizens to vote on these items, but the other part of it, I think, makes no sense whatsoever. When you ask whose lives have been improved by an E-date, if we didn't have an E-date, we wouldn't have Navy Federal Credit Union. They put $1.2 billion in the ground in my district, 10,000 employees to work in this community, buying houses, spending money. Without that E-date, they stay in Virginia. So that's just one example of many. So I think you're out to lunch on that, and to say such a thing, you're obviously entitled to say what you want, but your opinion doesn't make a fact, and you're dead wrong on it. Thank you. Moving forward. Next item, Clerk and Comptroller's report. Pam, you're recognized.
Thank you. I have 3 items on the consent agenda. The first one is about the TDT collections that we received in March. It's still doing very, very well. As you can see the report, I will tell you that we embarked on the TDT operational audit in January. All documents, I believe on my side, has been completed early April. I expect that we'll have a report for both sides come May. As with any operational audit, as opposed to financial, there's always things we can do better and things we'll collaborate on. So that report will be made public in May. The next 2 items are documents that we filed and minutes and reports that we prepared for the board. Thank you.
All right. Chair would entertain a motion on the clerk's report. Motion on the clerk's report. Motion second on the clerk's report. Please vote. And Madam Attorney, while we're waiting for the vote to come up, the clerk just mentioned that the report's going to be made public in May. Is that correct? I thought there was a period of time where we would have an opportunity to answer any.
My understanding is that they give us an initial findings report first. That is not a public record.
Okay.
We, and presumably also the clerk, would have the opportunity to respond to their comments. Then a final report is issued, and other than us being told to expect the initial report in May, I'm not sure when that would be.
The initial report is the report we have the opportunity to
Correct.
respond to. So
Yes,
you
sir.
had mentioned that something was going to be public in May, but nothing's going to be public.
No. They said they plan to have it published by May. I was just giving you parameters.
okay.
There's always steps in an audit that you file,
Just
that
making
you
sure.
follow before it's public. Yes, sir.
Awesome. Okay, very good. All right. Did we vote on that? Yeah, that passed unanimously. Did we vote? Yeah.
Yes, sir, it did pass
Okay,
unanimously.
unanimously. Okay. Moving forward next, we have Growth Management Report. Horace, you're recognized.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Commissioners and Board members. We have for today, Cahaley Ridge Phase 1. This for final plat approval. Recommendation for final plat approval.
And we do have one speaker, Shernice Brannon. Are you waving in support? I am here in support. Waving in support. Fantastic. Any, no other speakers? Yeah, go ahead. Yep. It's in my district. Yeah. Yeah, please. Chair would entertain a motion.
I'll move the item, Mr. Chairman.
Motion and second on the item. Please vote. Item passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Horace. Okay. Moving forward next to the County Administrator's Report. Wes, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are 6 items on the Technical Public Service Consent Agenda. Please make the following change. Drop CAR 1-4.
Okay. Any questions from the board on any of these items?
Move the
Commissioner-
balance.
Okay. Motion on the balance. Motion second on the balance.
Sorry.
Four drop.
If
Four
we can hold 5, please.
Hold 5.
Motion to move the balance stands with the inclusion of holding 5.
Okay. Does the second stand? Yeah. Okay. Motion is second. Please vote. All right, balance passes unanimously. We're at CAR 1-5. Wes, you're recognized. Or actually, no, Commissioner Bender, you're recognized. You wanted to hold it.
Yeah, sorry, I'm checking for there's a typo. Sorry, hold on one second. It's just in one of the whereases that the speed limit via DeLuna Avenue to 11 and Avenue to 12, but I believe it's supposed to be 22, which is where the other speed table is.
You want to offer an amendment?
I would move it with that change.
Okay.
Second.
Wait, just describe exactly what you're changing
It is.
for the clerk's benefit.
Huh? So it's the fifth whereas.
Okay?
When it says that county staff conducted an investigation on Via de Luna Drive, it references Avenida 11 and Avenida 12. I believe it should state Avenida 11 and Avenida 22.
Is that right?
That's where in section 2, it refers to Avenida 11 and 22, so I believe it's.
Is that clear to you, Delana? Okay, so we have a motion. We have a second? Your second stand, Lumen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. With that change, please vote. Okay, item 5 passes unanimously with the change. Okay, so that moves us to CAR 2, Budget and Finance. We have already completed item 4, and again, I appreciate the board allowing me to pull that forward while the MAC members were here. Wes, any other changes on?
There are 28 items remaining in the balance. There are no changes.
Okay, no changes. Okay, 28 items. Gentlemen, anything you want to pull? Anything you'd like? Looks good? Okay. Commissioner Bender, your light's on? Okay, all right. Chair will entertain a motion on CAR. Okay, motion is second on CAR 2. Please vote. Yep.
Mr. Chairman, if we don't mind, we can take it after we vote. It's not going to change so I'm sorry. Go ahead and vote.
Go ahead and vote. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize. Commissioner Underhill, was the second yours?
Yes, it was.
Okay, just making sure. Thank you.
You don't have any speakers on any of this? Nope. No speakers? Okay, please vote. Moving quickly.
And Wes, one of the items references vendor registry.
Yes,
I just hope
We are planning
navigating our way
to
away.
move
Lumen,
forward
need your vote.
with another software, better software package,
Yeah.
but for the moment, this is what we'll have to utilize.
Okay, Budget and Finance consent agenda passes in its entirety. We're now moving up to, before we leave, one thing I am going to, I need to go back to 28, and I wanted to add $1,000 to the Gulf Coast Kids House on top of Commissioner Barry's. So if, Commissioner Barry, if that would be all right with you, if you'd make that motion for me.
Yeah, move to rescind item 28.
Second. Please vote. We're going to, hey, hang on, let us do this surgery first. We're rescinding 28.
Sorry. Hey, Jeff, can you just hold on one second? Sorry.
Mr. Chair, and I'm going to cancel that vote in case there's another change, unless you want me to keep going.
Well, we're going to
on
rescind it, and then
28.
we're going
Okay.
to revote it.
Okay.
We got a motion and a second to rescind it. But Commissioner Bender needs a minute. Commissioner Bender, are you okay?
Sorry about that. Thank you.
Okay, you're good to go? Okay, so gentlemen, we've got a motion on the floor to rescind 28. We've got a motion and a second, so please vote to rescind it. Okay, the motion to rescind passes unanimously, and then Commissioner Barry, this is your item, and if you would just...
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I move item 28, adding $1,000 from Commissioner Burgash's discretionary.
Thank you. And I'll second that. Motion and second, please vote. Okay, 28 passes unanimously. I appreciate your indulgence in that, Commissioner Barry. Now we're up to CAR 3 for discussion. Wes? You haven't signed up, Melissa. We don't do business that way. Sign up to something and then you can speak. Wes, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am extremely elated and happy to present for ratification my selection for County Engineer, Ms. Joy Blackman. This has been a long search, Debbie Bowers and Jamie Higdon, and we've reviewed quite a few applications, talked to many, many people, and we just never thought we found that right fit. And 3 or 4 Saturdays ago, I was sitting on the back porch just thinking, you know, what's next? And so by chance, I called Joy, reached out to her mainly just to get some names, maybe some additional references. And from that conversation, things started turning a little bit. And we sit here today with her recommendation to be ratified as our county engineer. She hits the ground running. She knows our community. She loves the community. She has a great reputation in our community. And I don't think we could find a better county engineer than Ms. Joy Blackman. Thank you.
Fantastic. So the chair would entertain a motion on this item.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and for my part, I'll say thank you, Wes. There's been a lot of high-level positions within the county that you've been able to fill, and I believe this completes all of our higher-level, and just appreciate that and look forward to working with Joy Blackman again. Please vote. All right, the item passes unanimously, five in favor. County Attorney's report. Madam Attorney, you're recognized.
Thank you, sir. There are 2 action items on today's County Attorney's report. I can answer any questions.
Chair would entertain a motion on the action items.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
Move the county attorney's report.
Second.
The entire report, including discussion?
Sorry, action items.
Okay. Motion and second on the action items. Please vote. Okay, the action items pass unanimously, but I do have to say, you need us all after the meeting directly to sign this. We all have to sign it.
Actually, what you're going to be staying to sign is the refinance, which was on the county
Oh, okay, I'm
administrator's report. But yes, commissioners and Mr. Administrator, please be aware, do not leave campus until you have signed off on the refinance paperwork.
Are you having that upstairs in the?
It's in the training room on the 4th floor.
Training room on the 4th floor, okay.
Yes.
So not this,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that.
And Allison, on the vendor, that's just a month-to-month, just as, nothing's changed, correct?
That's the next item. We haven't
Okay.
done that yet.
Oh, I thought you finished, okay.
Yeah. All right, so now we're up to the discussion item. Madam Attorney, you're recognized again.
This is a request of Commissioner Bender, so I'm going to allow him to address the board.
Let me answer, yes, it's still month to month. It doesn't change any of the terms. I think the recommendation from our attorney is that, based on what they gave us, that we remove the last sentence where we are waiving each and every right with the undersign. And I would support that, but you know, I know we want to develop the property. I don't think this is standing in the way. It's still month to month. It doesn't change the fact that we tell them they have
Yeah, I mean.
time
yeah.
to get out.
Yeah.
So it is assigning it to someone else, but I don't think it impacts us, and it's being utilized by other people in that area. But
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I talked to Downey. I don't know. Debbie, did you have some thoughts or something? Okay. Yeah, I'm good with it, Robert. I didn't necessarily think it needed to come
So
forth. I
we're
told
going to have a
Downey that,
motion to approve the continuation of the month-to-month, or, I mean, what's the motion?
so it's the assignment
Okay.
to
In your backup.
They want to be able to assign it in case of a transaction, Jeff. That's what it is.
The initial lease didn't allow for assignment. The corporate entity is wanting to sell some of its assets, I believe, that would require the assignment of that particular right. They've provided, and it's in your backup, a 1-page consent and waiver. And as Commissioner Bender has noted, there is one sentence in their provided consent and waiver that I do not agree with, and I think what the motion would be is to allow for the board to authorize the entry of the landlord's consent and waiver, but with the striking out of that one problematic sentence.
Okay, you can put that in the motion, and we'll do it.
Delaney, did you copy that? That would be my motion. Okay, that's my motion.
Okay, so, and do we have a second? Lumen, did you second it?
Yeah, I'm happy to second it. And it's month to month. We have to give them what type of notice? They're
It's
moving?
literally, they're the sole remaining tenant at that site. It's month to month, and we
Yeah,
can,
and what would be our notice?
a month.
A month, okay, that's all right.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Please vote. Yeah, that's next. All right, and that passes unanimously. And the final thing on our agenda today is add-ons. And Commissioner May, you've got a recommendation, and if it's okay with you, I would like to tag on as well on this one.
Absolutely.
I'd like to help those ladies. So you're doing 1,000. I'm going to do 1,000 as well. So would you put that in your motion? I'll speak with Debbie.
Certainly,
about it.
certainly. And
Commissioner.
Doug, you had something else?
Yeah,
Okay.
at 1,000, as I have every year that I've been here. You know, that's, it never really was a district thing for me.
Right, yeah,
You
I
know,
understand.
It's an important part of our heritage and our culture here, so, yeah, $1,000 from my discretionary fund for that.
All right, sounds good.
So Commissioner May, you'll make the motion with
Yeah,
the
I'll make
addition?
a motion that 1,000 from Commissioner Underhill, Burgash, and May, and for the Rosamond Johnson Memorial Event.
Okay.
Commissioner Underhill, did you work it out where they're able to get in free, or have you not been able to work that out, or would this be a part of that as well? Remember, we didn't have to pay, the last couple of years, you worked that out where we didn't have to pay
I
for that?
believe that the solution we had from last year was a standing solution that
Okay.
moves forward. Now, obviously, leadership changes over the years, and so that might need to be reinforced. Is Ms. Wilmer still here? Probably
No.
not.
We'll put Erin in charge of that. She'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay, so y'all got it.
But I'm more than happy to engage again in that way if necessary. I don't think it will be necessary because I think that what we did last year really kind of ironed out a way forward. And I will say that, I mean, I haven't really been able to figure out how to do it during my tenure, which is coming to a close. But there are some of these events, these historical events that we do that probably ought to go ahead and be locked in to in the same way that we do like our historical cemeteries.
Right.
There's a lot more to culture than just the locations, but the events themselves, the celebrations, and to be able to lock those in as, and I think a very important part of the TDT funding would be wise. We haven't really addressed the locking in these cultural remembrances, which tie us, and remind us of the past. And we always say we stand on the shoulders of giants. But if we forget who those giants are, then we may well fall. So I would hope that this board would continue to kind of look for, and our staff would look for a way to address and identify what the threshold is for being a cultural event that would then fall into that. On our cultural side, we spend almost all the TDT that's being spent is being spent for preservation of the graveyards, but there's much more that we can actually, it's the events that actually make young people see and remind them of what they're, where they came from. So,
No, and Doug, you'd find my support, and I just wanted to make sure that, I mean, quite frankly, when African Americans couldn't go on Pensacola Beach, they went to Johnson Beach, and so this is pretty significant. So would like to eliminate any barriers, at least for this celebration, for that historic beach. But in the past, you've led the charge, and it's been successful. So, as you said, I don't see anything that would
I bet
prohibit
that if
that.
there was a problem, Ms. Wilmer would have been up in my kulai by now. So, I mean, she does not ever hesitate to ask for the things that are needed, and she knows how to leverage the government. So, I'd venture to say there probably is no problem. The other big benefit that we had from last year was that the cards being handed out throughout the Gulf Islands National Seashore to anybody who comes in has the information of Rosamond Johnson's story on that card, and that expands that potential audience to not just those who go to Perdido that weekend, but to go anywhere on the Gulf Islands National Seashore.
Absolutely. And I'm certainly, thank you, Commissioner Magashi and Commissioner Underhill. That family, they make it a weekend celebration, Jeff. They do, I mean, from the beach down to historic Belmont DeVillers, and they're very proud, and certainly I appreciate you guys helping them out.
Absolutely. Commissioner Barry, did you want to weigh in?
Not about this, but I do have some comments before we break.
All right, well, we got to vote on this first, right? I don't think we voted yet, so let's vote on that.
Mr. Chairman, we don't have a second yet.
Oh, we don't have a
sorry.
second. Well, I'll second it.
Second.
It's seconded now. Double second. All right, there we go. $3,000. Is that going to be enough, Lumen?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
They'll be very grateful.
fantastic.
The Perdido Key Chamber of Commerce usually covers the other half of it. So
Oh,
that's,
okay.
that's something that's done, that event is generally funded as a combination of public funding that comes from us and then, and public assistance that comes from the feds, and then a private lift that comes from the chamber guys out there.
Fantastic. That's great. I'm glad we do.
Mainly what this does is help the family buy the food and they do the big cookout, so they
I love
usually,
it.
and we kind of have good controls because we allow for our department to go get it for them.
Very worthwhile expenditure. Commissioner Berry, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just hoping that.
Wait, Doug, we're waiting for Doug. Doug, you got to vote. Thank God for the card system before we move forward. All right, that passes unanimously. As no surprises there. Very good.
Thank you, Mr.
Berry.
Chairman. Chips, I was hoping that you would communicate something to Mr. Posner. You don't have to say anything necessarily, but, you know, his add-on was approved, contracting for the estuary board. That's not something that went to the estuary board, I'm told, but it's something that came urgent to us to be added today. And the company that was awarded was not registered until Tuesday this week as a company in Florida, even though they were evaluated by the selection committee in March. That's not the way to do things, and it's not the way to do business. And if you'd be kind enough to communicate that to Mr. Posner, I'd appreciate that.
Any further action on that need to happen?
Not necessarily.
Thanks for bringing that to our attention. All right,
Yeah.
thank you. Is there anything else for the good of the order? Anything that I've forgotten? Delana, did I forget anything? All right, we're adjourned.